Are we almost there? Grover was packing his suitcase. He was so excited. Tomorrow he and his mother were going on vacation to his grandparents' farm. "Oh, I cannot wait until we get there," he told Teddy Monster. Grover's mother was on the phone. "Grover, your grandfather wants to talk with you," she said, holding out the phone to him. "I can hardly wait to see you, Grover, dear," said his grandfather. "I have a special surprise for you." "A surprise for me? Oh, my goodness," said Grover. "What is it?" His grandfather laughed and said, "If I told you, wouldn't it be a surprise? See you tomorrow." That night Grover could hardly sleep. He was ready to go before the sun came up. Grover's mother made him his favorite breakfast, pancakes, but all Grover could think about was the trip. "Do you think Grandpa's surprise for me is a baby kitten?" asks Grover. His grandparents had two big cats on the farm. "You'll just have to wait and see," said his mother. They put their suitcases in the car. Now they were ready to go. Before his mother started the car, Grover asked, "How long till we get there?" "Not too long, Grover dear," she answered. Soon they passed a small amusement park. The Ferris wheel reminded Grover of the country fair he had visited with his grandparents last summer. He had loved being so high on top of the Ferris wheel. But the best thing about the fair had been seeing the prize-winning pig and the biggest pumpkin. "Maybe the surprise is the country fair," said Grover, but his mother just smiled. When they passed a bike rider, Grover waved to her. "Gee," thought Grover, "maybe Grandpa borrowed Cousin Frank's old bike for me to ride. That would be a nice surprise. Grover had learned to ride a two-wheeler just last summer." "Mommy, are we almost there?" asked Grover. "Not yet, dear. Soon." It was not soon enough for Grover. Pretty soon Grover was hungry. They had stopped at a gas station and had a picnic under a shady tree. "I wonder," said Grover, "is the surprise the firefighters' picnic?" Every year there was a big picnic at the firehouse in the town square. There was barbecued chicken and fresh corn on the cob that did not taste like any corn in the city. "I promised not to tell," said his mother. "You'll find out soon, dear." After lunch they began driving. Every few minutes Grover asked, "Are we almost there?" "No, dear, in a little while," his mother said. "Look at the boat on that bike. Why don't we sing 'Row, row, row your boat'?" So they sang. "Mommy," said Grover, "maybe the surprise is a boat ride on the lake." There was a lake near the farm where Grover and his friend Lily went swimming. Sometimes, as a special treat, Grandpa borrowed a boat and took Grover fishing. Grover liked chasing frogs on the riverbank. Grover's mother wouldn't tell him if that was a surprise. "Are we almost there?" asked Grover. "No," said his mother, "but we're almost there." They were really in the country now. They passed a roadside fruit stand and stopped to buy a basket of peaches. "Maybe the surprise is one of Grandma's peach pies," said Grover. "Do you think that is that is it?" "Maybe," said his mother, "and maybe not." Soon they passed a tractor pulling a wagon loaded with hay. Children in the hay wagon waved hello. "Mommy, I know. Maybe the surprise is a hayride. Remember the hayride last summer?" It had been such a great adventure. Grover and Lily had sat way up on top. Whenever the wagon hit a bump in the road, they would get hay in their fur and laugh. "Is that the surprise?" Grover said to himself. "I wonder." Finally they turned into the lane to Grover's grandparents' house. We're here," shouted Grover. Grover's grandparents rushed over and gave him a huge hug. "Look how much you have grown," they exclaimed. Grover hugged them back. Grover jumped up and down. "Please tell me what the surprise is. I cannot wait one more minute." Grover's grandparents took his hands and said, "Close your eyes." Grover did. Then they led Grover to the backyard. "Okay, you can open your eyes," said his grandfather. Grover opened his eyes and saw his favorite apple tree. Nailed to the trunk were short boards that made a ladder. Grover looked up and then he saw the surprise. "A tree house," he shouted. "Oh, this was the most wonderful surprise in the whole world. Thank you." Grover ran over to the tree and climbed right up. He stayed there all that afternoon, and he had played there every day on his vacation. When the wind blew, he pretended the treehouse was a ship, and he was its captain. And when the fireflies came out, he pretended the treehouse was a magic carpet, and he was riding through the sky. And when it was time for Grover and his mother to return to Sesame Street, he said, "I cannot wait to come back."